Good afternoon and welcome. We are absolutely delighted today on the last day of ISE to have Mike Blackman, the Managing Director of Integrated Systems Events. Mike, welcome. You must be the most pleased man, I think, in the whole of the building. What a fantastic ISE you put on. Tell us a little bit about how it's all come together this week.
Well, it's been fantastic. I mean, I am smiling because everything has worked as we'd like to. In fact, everything has worked better than we'd like to. Our theme this year was more. And I made a little joke in the press conference about Moore's Law, two O's instead of one, but about this exponential growth. Well, this is what ISE has had from when we started in 2004 with 2,800 square meters, 3,500 attendees, 120 exhibitors. We are now with 1,100 exhibitors, 45,000 net square meters of space. And I'll tell you in a little while, but the attendee numbers are phenomenal. We're really pleased.
Okay.
More importantly, it's been the attendee pattern over the days, because 4 days was obviously something we knew had to be done.
So how long have you been thinking about the fourth day? It didn't come along quite suddenly, I'm sure.
No, absolutely not. The most influence actually came from, firstly, the press, guys like you. There's you've got an organization where you don't have a huge amount of manpower, so to get around the show was always difficult for the press, like almost everyone in this industry. So we got a lot of push from the press over a number of years saying we need more time to get around the show. Then many of our exhibitors started saying we don't have enough time to see all our customers, and so this process went on. So we started discussions about it 3 years ago, and 2 years ago we made the decision we would do a fourth day. Obviously, you can imagine we can't just go 4 days. And we were able to actually announce last year, at last year's show, that we will be able to make this year a 4-day event. So the process is not easy to go in one year.
And you also announced this morning, just before Dr. Kaku's closing keynote, that you're now the world's largest professional AV show in the world. You must also be incredibly pleased about that.
Absolutely, and I say professional because obviously, we try not to. We're trying to be clear, but if you can count a show like CES, which is a consumer electronics show, it's not AV. But some people might say, well, there's some AV in there. Yes, there is. But if we're talking about our industry, then we are the biggest in the world. We don't have consumers here. So when we talk about professional visitors, when we talk about people who are actually in this industry buying, selling, consulting, creating, then we are the biggest.
Yeah, and you're of course backed by Infocom, which I'll come on to in a second, but just on the CES thing, we do CES. We used to do CES once every couple of years. We've done it for the last couple of years in a row now. Something we may not do next year. The big issue with CES, you're going to go to a booth and you're in Samsung's booth, you're in LG's booth, and you walk out and then next door there's somebody selling you some 3D printers, or there's somebody selling you some cables, or some iPhone cable ties, or some crappy little hoverboard merchandise stuff. It's very, very, very disorganized.
It's just the way they've grown, and we had that danger of growing the same way, but we've been very, very careful that we say that's our profile. If it doesn't fit in our profile, then it's not coming in the halls. And it's a shame when you see some shows just pull in whatever's interesting. So we try to be very, very focused. This is the business we're in. This is the AV business. We're trying to get our attendees to be focused. And if we become too diverse, firstly in the profile of our exhibitors, but also the profile of our visitors, we'll ruin what is a good event. So we try to be very, very specific. So our exhibitors will say, okay, I know these guys are potential customers. They're not tire kickers.
No, absolutely right. So Infocom must be very pleased with you, very proud.
Absolutely, yeah.
Must be very, very pleased. I'm sure there's no envy with the American show.
No, we see this as, obviously we're owned by Infocom and Cedia, and we see all the shows, and we work together in the partnership, that really the cooperation between the different managers of each of the shows. In fact, we're all meeting tomorrow and we discuss things on how we move forward, what are the commonalities, and what we see is that the timing of our shows is very, very focused, so that our manufacturers, our exhibitors, have the opportunity to time their R&D and their product launches to fit with the timelines of the shows.
But Infocom do this great job with the professional certification, the community side of things. The profits from the shows go back into the industry?
They go 100%. 100% of the profits go back into the industry. They're invested into development, into training, education, just to make sure that this industry grows. So there are no private owners out of our organizations. And so everything goes back into it.
Tell us a little bit about how you've done the conferences, because so many people have been talking about such nice things about the events this week. The on-show floor, the on-show theatres,
Yeah.
The other stuff in other rooms. There's some stuff the day before. There was a great AV/IT coming together panel. There's an AV/IT workshop going on today,
Correct.
which you've been
Yeah.
great enough to support, I believe.
Yeah, correct.
How do those things sort of gel into the whole ISE?
So when we started ISE, I mean, I had this philosophy, which is that we shouldn't just create exhibitions, we have to create events. And that means that it must be multifaceted. If we want to attract attendees, to actually, someone who's got work to do, is busy every day, and when he's out of the office, he comes back to a pile of emails and work, etc. So we want to make sure that they see the value of being here, and that means we have to create added value. So part of that is, the first part is we see the exhibitors, if you could equate it to a magazine, the exhibitors are the advertising, and we're responsible for creating the editorial.
Right.
And the editorial means features, it means content, it means training, everything that actually enhances what the exhibitors are doing. And then on top of that, the social events and other activities that go in and around the show, like the Innovate Awards, like the various parties, the various smaller, dinners that focus for people in the industry, where they sit together and discuss ideas or cooperation, etc. So you get a whole event going over the whole of the week, and everyone says, I come to Amsterdam for ISE because all these things are actually happening. So it's very, very important. So we start working, and I have a content development team in the group, in my team, and these guys, their role is to actually create everything around it that actually adds value to the exhibition. That means the conferences, that means the PR, the cooperation with magazines, what they do online. That is a complete ecosystem. They're people with knowledge of the industry. That's important for us. This is all we do. We're not an exhibition organizer that's one day a car show and the next day a show about printing or whatever. We are just in the AV industry. So I get people who are actually focused on this and know about it.
Well, that focus and the passion, I think, shows through what you put together. So you've set the bar so incredibly high.
Yes, definitely.
So you need to be worried now.
Yeah, I think there are some car companies where the one claims to be the number one, the other one says they try harder. We've always tried harder, and now we're number one. And I sat with my staff and I said last year, when we saw the success and how we're going, and I said, guys, you know what our biggest danger is? That's complacency. We have to stay on top. We have to stay and see, how can we always do better? We will sit together. Everyone has a break next week, and then in 2 weeks' time we sit together. Everybody flies into Munich, and we sit down for 3 days and we dissect the show. We look at what was good, what was bad, what worked, what didn't work, what can we improve, what should we keep, and we go through every single aspect. And then we go back and say, okay, now let's try and improve the things that need improving. Let's try and take it to the next level.
So the event next year is in February, again, early February.
Correct.
Anything you've got in the back of your mind?
It's definitely going to be 4 days again.
Yeah.
We're looking for the next keynote. You were there this morning's keynote with Professor Kaku. I'm a fan. I think you're a fan as well. When we see the amount of people who were in that room this morning, we know there were a lot of fans here. I actually had one guy who came in. He told me I just drove all the way down from the north. And I left early so I'd be here in time and get a seat. And because I was about to kick him out, and I said, okay, you sit there. And he was lucky he won one of the books as well. So he really pleased that his journey was worthwhile.
Good.
So the next one will be we're looking to decide who we have for a keynote next year, and we want to try and top that if we can. So that's something you will see. Friday at ISE will be something that's happening in the future. And we want to make it valuable.
Mike, you should be very pleased, very proud. You and your team have done a fantastic job. Thank you for coming.
Adrian, thank you.